So BTC hit 56K, but breaking news, it's the 4th of July. How do you like that shirt? Lots of bears out there, so much fun happening right now. But we've got a lot of altcoins sitting on interesting support levels. We got BTC potentially with a short-term reversal here imminently, but doesn't mean the pain is over. We could be seeing some very deep and dark levels here. So we've got a lot to talk about here today, guys. Let's get right into it. And remember, if you're enjoying the shirt, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit that bell button. And it's a bear market, but you know, we got to keep the spirits up here and go a little bit bullish here, just a little bit bullish. Right, guys. So who's enjoying the pain? Well, this is Banter Bubbles. I don't want to shock you, but this is Banter Bubbles on the 1 hour. And we can see we've had some kind of short-term little move here so far on Banter Bubbles. But if we take a look at the daily on today, it's not a pretty picture. And they've been hurting us all day long. We've been feeling the pain. And, you know, some of our favorites are really taking some hits here. I mean, the average here looks to be about 10%. Even XRP is down 6%. And, you know, breaking news, Celestia, I promised you guys that I would go long Celestia when it hit the shit zone. And Celestia has hit the shit zone, and now I've gone long on Celestia. This is not something I would advise you to do, so we're going to talk about that one shortly. But I promised you a Celestia long, and we have gone with it. So where are we, and what have these animals done to us today? And this is BTC on the 2 hour that I'm tracking at the moment. And I just wanted to paint this little picture for you guys, because I haven't seen anything like this, well, in a very long time. And what these guys have been doing to us is every time they've sold us, they've hit one of our little reaction zones and one of our little bounce areas, given the bulls something to play with here, and then they keep ending us. They ended us again here. They hit the 200-day MA, 58,400. They gave us a little bounce. What did they do? They ended us again, and now they've hit this big liquidity zone here at around about 56,800. And, you know, we're getting a little bounce here, but is this something we can get excited about? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. But what am I watching now? Well, for today, on the 2 hour chart, I'm definitely watching this little zone down here, 56,800. This is now a massive area for us. And if they are going to bleed us lower, we don't really want to see much lower than some kind of little double bottom in the zone. But remember, US market is closed today, and there could be a lot of sort of low volume moves coming out here. So we just need to be super cautious with how we are playing things. And if things do start churning a little bit higher, I'm watching this 58,400. This is now the 200-day MA, which we have lost, and this is going to be big resistance for us. So I would expect some kind of rejection there. That could be a potential short zone for some of the bears as well. 58,400. If we start clearing the 200-day MA again, then I can say, okay, we can treat this thing as support now, and we can start looking for slightly bigger things. But right now, you're watching 56,800 anywhere in this region here, even mid 56s is something you want to keep your eyes on, and looking for some kind of short-term bounce. Now, there's a couple of things telling me that we could get some kind of imminent move. Number one is the regular RSI is oversold on multiple time frames. I'm using the 2 hour here as an example for you guys at the moment, and we're sitting at 24. So we have seen in the past, whenever we reach these levels, we get some kind of bounce out of these tokens when we hit these zones. Then I've got something else here for you guys, and I haven't seen this since January. And I pulled out some Lux Algo action. You haven't seen me using this one in a while, but I haven't seen 2 X prints on Lux Algo since January earlier this year. So here was the first X print at a support zone, and here's the second one. We just had it today. This is something that happens, you know, it happens very rarely on BTC, especially on the 2 hour. So, and we are sitting in this cloud. So something's telling me we could get some kind of short-term move, but it could only be, for example, it might only be 1% or 2% or something like that. And when we look at the daily chart, we're going to start prepping for lower levels in case they are going to send us a little bit lower down. Now, let's see what is going on in the news and what's happening out there. So this was from earlier today. This was the liquidation situation, and $278 million worth of long positions got liquidated. Now I'm sure throughout the day it's actually got a little bit worse, because subsequent to this tweet we actually had a little bit more downside, and yeah, look, it's not looking very good out there, and there's a lot of pain at the moment, as we can see. Now, how's this for pain? If you're sitting in leverage position, imagine how this guy is feeling at the moment. There's a whale here. He put in 12,700 ETH into compound. He borrowed $31 million. Now, this guy's liquidation level is sitting at 2,984 for ETH. So if you think you've changed your undies today, imagine how this guy is pacing around his office or around his living room and changing his undies all day long. And yeah, things looking very interesting for this guy, very spicy now as ETH starts pushing lower. And then we've got this whale here, not apparently not the best trader, but the same whale the other day that took BTC off the exchanges, he's now put them back, and he's been selling them at a loss. So you might have noticed some downside today. I don't know if you did notice, but there's a couple of reasons why. It could be one of them is this guy busy selling his stuff. The other one is the Germans.
Wait. Did you say somebody sold something for a loss?
I believe
somebody's. Oh wow, that's pretty bullish.
I believe, yeah, Michael Saylor potentially bought his bags. The Germans are back, okay? In the past 2 hours, this was a tweet from earlier today. It said, in the past 2 hours, the German government moved 1,300 BTC to exchanges. I mean, that's a lot, okay? That's $76 million worth of pain. And, you know, some more BTC there for Michael Saylor coming in for him. I'm sure he's licking his lips, and he's getting quite excited. And then the Messiah, how's this? Justin Tron, he's like, fuck this. He's like, I'm actually going to try and buy some of these BTC from the Germans. And he's trying to negotiate some kind of deal with the German government to take it off market, so they stop selling on the exchanges and stop rinsing us. And hopefully he comes right with his plan. So let's see how he's going to go with that one. And then Mt. Gox wallets, they have been activated. Okay, so this obviously naturally causes panic in the market. We know in the history, whenever there's Mt. Gox talk and things like that out there, what happens? They sell off, you know, and people start panicking. So a lot of these candles that you're seeing here could be directly linked to this panic, and these Mt. Gox wallets activated again. Is that selling going to start? Is the selling going to be priced in? You know, are these guys going to start selling into some green candles now on some kind of bounce? We'll just have to wait and see how that is going to play out there. And then just some interesting things on the current sentiment out there in the market. And the Moon Overlord, he says, the mighty bull market of 2024. He says BTC, ETH, and Sol went up a bit. Okay. 5 meme coins did well. 99% of coins ate shit, and every airdrop was an instant minus 90%. So that's the general feeling out there in the moment. And if you're feeling a little bit salty, you can't be blamed, you know. But the S&P doesn't care. Now, remember, the S&P is not open today. But again, if this was 2021 with the S&P ripping like this, we would have seen crypto altcoins flying. We would have seen BTC flying. But unfortunately, there's no correlation between the two at the moment, except if the S&P starts dumping. Then they can maybe come and feel some pain with us and, you know, join the pain train. So, yeah, just interesting things going on here. And then yesterday, I showed you a tweet on sentiment and how you can use your bias on the charts, and we laughed about that tweet yesterday where the guy was saying, well, it was a double top, now maybe it's a double bottom, and now we got Cole the Moon giving us a massive double top, and he is so bearish, and he's generally quite a bullish trader out there, and he's sending us to 38k at the moment. So, you know, is this a bottom signal? I don't know, I'm not sure. But if Cole the Moon's coming out, giving us boobies here and sending us to 38k, well, maybe that's a sign that we could have some kind of short-term move up. And then Mustache, we do like this guy. I mean, this guy's a perma bull, though, but he has posted an interesting tweet here. He's telling us about the Wyckoff reaccumulation model. And if we do get this bounce here, look at this little picture that he's drawn here for us. We should get some kind of spring. Okay, so if that is now going to play out, well, we are roughly in that zone now. Anything to round about, say, 55, 56k is in his little circle of trust there. So he's looking for a bounce. Cole is looking for 38k. What are you guys looking for? Let's see what you guys actually said here in the chats. I'm running a poll here at the moment, and BTC bounces here. Only half want the pump. 51% want the dump. I think neutral is quite good. I think it's a nice balance. You know, you guys aren't overly bearish here at the moment. If you guys were, say, 80% bearish, I would have said guaranteed we're going to get a bounce here. But things are relatively neutral at the moment. I see Pickle in the chats is calling 50K, and I see Kyle is calling, what, 40K. So, guys, look, remember, whenever we get to a new level, you know, whenever we ping a new area, we've got to start addressing the levels lower down. Now, yesterday, I didn't want to scare the shit out of you guys, but I did say 51K was on the table for the next potential move, and I gave you a little recipe as to how I think that could happen. So I'm going to show you one more time as to how I think this could potentially play out. So here we are on the daily, and you can see we're currently getting a reaction at the lows, at our previous lows that they gave us. When was this? This was on the 4th of May. Okay, so we've now pinged the 4th of May lows. What are we looking for now? So number one, if we do start pushing higher and we reclaim this 200-day MA, that could be interesting. But for me, this is going to be a massive potential bear zone here for us, and that could be the trigger here that sends us back to hell. And 51K could be the number that we are looking for. So we're going to have to see, you know, we're going to play it level by level here. So 59,850 here on the daily right now is looking like a massive resistance zone for me. Now, we could get some kind of squeeze if things turn super bullish. Maybe, you know, later on today, maybe tomorrow when the US markets open, we'll have to see how that plays out. But 60K, 59,850 to 60K looks like a short zone here on the daily. And that would also tie in relatively well to a trend that we can see is forming. Now, we're going to just grab this new trend here from the highs, and we're going to pull that to the lows. And then bang, look at that. So that is potentially a take profit zone. If you guys are long BTC, if you guys are long altcoins and things like that, and we do get a push into this 59,850, that for me, careful here. TP zone, that type of thing, tighten up stops, all these things. Let's not get too euphoric until we start reclaiming 59,850. That's a big one. First step, 200-day MA, 58,500. That is what we're looking at. Now, how is everybody going? And you know, we got to keep our spirits up here, and let's see where everyone is here in the chats. I see Richard saying holy shit, and I wonder why. And Money Prince says I sold everything, I have my soul left. What else is going? Matt's getting rinsed on AVAX. Guys, it's been painful out there. It's been very painful out there. Tate Motivation says there's also bullish divergence on the 4-hour. Guys, there's tons of reasons why we could get a bounce. Again, we don't know how high this bounce is going to be. It could literally be 1%, and they send us back to hell. So make sure that you are, you know, playing things safely. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing at the moment. So now we're going to be looking at some of these altcoins, and you're going to see a ton of altcoins now that I'm going to show you sitting on major support levels. Okay, now is not the time to be aping massive size positions. So my strategy here is on some of these hot zones that we're looking at, small little positions here. You can nibble around in these areas. When we start getting some kind of move, you want to bang out, say, a 15-minute trend and things like that. Then when we start breaking those trends, you can start growing those positions. The biggest mistake you can do now is aping in on these big levels with the current market conditions, because you can get absolutely rinsed here. So I can't stop you guys from trading, but what I can do is just tell you, be super careful here. Small positions. Now's the time. You're going to nibble in these zones, wait for these trend breaks, then you can add and you can grow these positions slowly. There is no major urgency here. And dominance, well, this is not a good look at the moment. This is dominance on the 12-hour, and we have just broken our downtrend. So now what the bulls, the altcoin bulls, what they can hope for here is some kind of rejection at the 50-day MA and the 200-day MA. Now, we have seen in the past, the 100-day MA has given us a rejection. We have seen in the past, the 50-day MA has given us a rejection. So maybe we're pushing into the zone now. That could be a little rejection for us that we could look for here on some of these altcoins, and maybe just give them a little bit of a push. So watch this one carefully here, and dominance is going to be key in this current move. And Nancy says the shirt keeps my spirits up. Guys, it's the best shirt. It's my 4th of July American flag shirt here for you guys. And Tommy says 50K is Bitcoin's true price. He's obviously done his thorough valuation there on this. And Brilliant Trans says finally bearish. I'm never bearish. I'm wearing the bull shirt. What do you mean? And let's look at a couple of things. So first altcoin that is on an interesting level here for me And now you've heard me say interesting level multiple times on ETH, because don't forget, I've been an ETH bro for the last while. But here we go. ETH is finally pinging. What are they pinging? A 786. They're pinging the 200-day MA, and we're pinging some horizontals. So 3,000 here for ETH looks like some kind of short-term area here. Now, again, that doesn't mean this is the bottom of the ETH move, but that could tell us that we could get some kind of short-term bounce here on ETH. If they are going to be bearish, that will be tied in with BTC pushing higher and then rejecting at that trend that I've just shown you guys. So look out for something like that on ETH, and ETH should start churning. If we get a big dominance drop here, we should see ETH and some of these altcoins just start moving a little bit off these areas. Emmanuel says, is it too late to short? So what I generally suggest here is, if you are looking to short on major supports, you are sometimes teeing yourself up to get to be part of a squeeze and some kind of pump. So rather, you want to be shorting on any strength rather than shorting on too much weakness onto major support. So you will have a short opportunity on BTC. You will have a short opportunity on ETH as well, if you want to look for those type of things. And you can see it's a nice clean picture here as to how this is going to play out potentially. But ETH traders, I would say watch 3,060 down to 3,000 as a potential support zone now in the interim. And let's see how we go. I see Tom says they need to liquidate the whale first. Look, you're not wrong. And let's just look at the whale's level there. It was 3,890, give or take. So that is actually perfect. And very interesting point. I mean, that whale's level is sitting right here. And unfortunately for him, it's sitting in a major support zone. So you know what's going to happen here. If you guys have traded leverage before, you know exactly what's going to happen to this guy. They're going to dip ETH into the zone here. They're going to liquidate him, and then they're going to send it straight back up. And if you've traded leverage before, you know exactly what I'm talking about, getting liquidated on support. So hopefully it doesn't happen to the man. Hopefully he's got a little bit of cover there. But yeah, that level there, that lower region, 2,870, look for some kind of bounce there as well on Ethereum. That is a nice little juicy area there for me. And Pickle says, yes, hit the like button. Guys, if you like the shirt, you're never going to see me in a color again. I only wear black, except on the 4th of July. So if you like the shirt, you better hit that like button there for me. And I see the trader dad says the whale just changed his pants again. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now, guys, this is not advice, okay? I strongly recommend you do not long Celestia, but I promised you that I would long Celestia, and we watched this thing absolutely melt down into the zone, and in fact, it's actually losing its current daily level. So it's actually dipped a little bit lower than what we wanted to see. So this was an area for me. This 5.2 down to about 4.9 was an area of interest for me. And they've actually bled it a little bit lower down. So definitely under pressure here, Celestia traders. But, I'm not going to hang around. So I've jumped into this because I promised you I was going to long this thing. Ray, did you long Celestia then?
I bought something else instead.
Disappointing, Ray. Disappointing. We were supposed to long Celestia together. We were Celestia brothers, Ray. Okay, so here it is.
Not yet.
Well, here we go. Okay, so here's Celestia. I'm logging this on WeX. Okay, and this is, guys, there's a link in the description. All these exchanges that I'm using, there's a link in the description for you. There's no KYC on any of these exchanges. They're all offering you incentives to join them and sign up. So jump in and get stuck into it. But look at Celestia. There it goes. It's green, right? And the next play here for me on Celestia, you can see my stop is at 4.73, and the next move for me is going to be a trend break. So if we do get some kind of trend break here on Celestia, then we can start adding and trying to grow this position. So remember, if you are trying to long these altcoins off these areas, it's tiny positions here. Let them break trends. You can add on retests and things like that, and then you can grow the position. But right now, I remind you, now's not the time to be aping in massive size. And if the market's going to move, you've got time to add on. If the market falls over again, you haven't been rinsed out completely. So just really, guys, play it safe there. And when we do get a trend break, then you can start adding and you can look for a little bit more. So you can see how I've planned this thing here at the moment. Let's see. We'll watch as we go. If this thing starts playing out, we might be able to add together. Another one, Toncoin. And, we raised this one earlier this week. And I said there were two options here. And it depends on the hat you're wearing for your bias. And the first notable thing for me on Toncoin was the fact that we did have technically a double top in play. So at the time we were saying, looking for a bounce here in the zone. I traded that bounce. Okay, got the bounce. What happened? They came back, they round tripped me, stopped me out, and now they've sent this thing down. We've lost trend. And when you start losing trend, when you start losing levels, what you need to do is always highlight your main impact zones, your big reaction zones. And I did drop this one in Sniper Club earlier today. So everyone in Sniper Club, the charts were there in my section, including Toncoin, including me saying 50-day MA incoming for Toncoin. And the reaction zone, look at this powerful reaction off 7. Okay, so this was the 786 for me, the 50-day MA, and the horizontals in play here. So a nice little reaction here on Toncoin off a good zone. And now you know, okay, now you have it. You have your support at 7. And remember, after these type of bounces, don't think they don't come back and come and try and fill this candle and do these types of things. So if you're trading Toncoin off this level, watch 7 now. That is a support marker that you want to pay attention to. Very clean, easy exit here. If we do dip lower, your next bounce is going to be around about 6.8, give or take. And you can see we just go literally level by level. We look at these areas and we play it accordingly. Okay, the next banger is Sol. Okay, so another move from Sol. And what did we do? We've dipped straight into a massive area. We dipped into a 786. But it's also a big 618 pool that I've got here on Solana. And right now, let me just show you this current situation. Sol. 128 and 129, they were 2 fibs that were tying in with one another. We also had horizontals in play here for Sol and Sniper Club, guys. I said 130 was the area I was watching for Sol. Next level lower down was 120. So right now we've got a reaction on Sol, and if the market turns over, what are we watching? Some kind of double bottom there potentially on Sol, back to 130 as your support. If we lose that area, you've got to look 118 to 120. This area is coming into play once again. Okay, so this will be this will be the 3rd or 4th test of this area if they are going to send us lower. So right now we can see a short-term little bounce on Solana, and if it starts reclaiming the 200-day MA, maybe it will get a little bit more interesting. But right now, nothing too much to report here, other than your big resistance at 155 again. So I'm going to show you my current Sol trade that I'm in as well. And then I've got PENDLE. So PENDLE is also giving us a little reaction. We've been talking about this one so far this week, and the 200-day MA coming into play. Why is this a good one? I like the fundamentals because it's a RWA play and it's a potential ETH play as well. We know they had an unlock. We know they were selling. Is that selling priced in? Well, you know, based on the way the market was dumping today, PENDLE has held relatively well considering, and it's actually been floating around while everything was falling over, while that whale was changing his undies and we were shifting around in our chairs. PENDLE was just floating at this 200-day MA. So if you are interested in PENDLE, or if you are sitting in PENDLE, you know, your big support has got to be the low now today, 3.89. That is what you're going to be watching. But I do like PENDLE. Anything down into 3.9, I do like it. 3.6 reaction zone, and then if they absolutely come and flush us out here, we're looking at 3.33. But right now things are looking okay for PENDLE. They're not great, but they're okay. And here's my current situation here, and I played around with PENDLE earlier. You can see I'm $300 up, but my daily realized P&L is actually negative 210 because I got cut once or twice. So I'm watching that one play out now as we go. And then Sol, I've started a Sol position here and waiting for this trend break. So the same strategy here. If we do get this trend break, then we can maybe get a little bit more excited on Solana. But right now, we're playing things really safe. We're using very tight stops and those type of things. Guys, remember, small positions here. You don't want to be aping in these type of conditions. This is dangerous stuff. And if you're going to play it now, nibbles on big supports and then look for those trend breaks, and you can play those trend breaks. Just do it small. And if these things start moving for you guys, then you can always catch up later. You can always add to these positions. Another one is ONDO. I wanted to give you guys a big perspective for a change. We're always looking at ONDO on 4 hour. We're looking at on 8 hour. And I thought, let me just zoom out here for you and give you a picture on a 3-day chart as to what is going on with ONDO and what type of support are we actually dealing with here. So ONDO looking very interesting. We've got a 382 coming into play here for us, and we've got some big horizontals here. These are 3-day candles here in play for us on ONDO. And that is telling us support for me, anything down to around about the 1 region on ONDO. And we do have this backup here on this trend. So if we are moving into that zone, we're looking for this trend to hold. And very simply, if BTC is going to fall over, we most likely going to see ONDO lose this trend, and then we are going to start dipping a little bit lower. But if you're holding ONDO bags, you're sitting in an ONDO spot and all those types of things, watch this rising trend on the 3-day, and there's no reason to turn bearish just yet. Okay, so we do understand bigger picture. We got Cole calling 32K, we got Kyle calling 40, you've got me calling 51K. Everyone gets it, everybody understands there could be some big levels lower down, and just remember, play that accordingly, and watch your trends, watch these things. When we start losing these zones, then maybe it's a sign that we are going to be looking a little bit lower down. So guys, remember, things are very tricky here at the moment. I see Zao likes my shirt. Guys, I was actually given this shirt today, and especially for the show, and I was going to say I'd like to give the shirt away, but it's not mine, it's on loan for you guys. Okay, another one for me was 𝗵𝗵. And nice little bounce zone again. So 𝗵𝗵 coming into play, moving into a 618 for us and moving into horizontals. Now we know a very big 618 pool. Look at the size of this pool, is generally quite a strong area. And when you move into that type of zone, you often get a reaction. Now it doesn't mean that's the bottom of the move, but what it can tell you is that when you dip into that zone, you need to be making rational decisions. So when 𝗵𝗵 was dropping onto a 618 in the zone here, this is the last place you want to be opening shorts, because most likely we get some kind of bounce in that region. So anybody who shorted 𝗵𝗵 on that 618 on high leverage is now probably feeling a little bit of pressure here. But the next play for me, if you are looking for shorts, you're looking for shorts on strength. So you're looking for these type of things to play out for you when it pushes up into resistance areas. So remember, you want to be longing on the weakness. You're looking for shorts on strength. That's typically what's going to work for you more often than not. If you start shorting on supports, obviously, sometimes it's going to work, but balance the probabilities more often than not. You want to be shorting on strength. You want to be longing on weakness onto good support. So 𝗵𝗵 right now, there is support, multiple zeros, 9. That is a support region. And let's call it a reaction zone as well. And again, we can't guarantee that this thing now is going to hold, because BTC has been an absolute beast at the moment with the current selling. So you need to just exercise a bit of caution, but watch this area here. 𝗵𝗵, I mean, look how perfect this thing bounced off the 618. You can't make this shit up. Look at this. We're zooming into this for you guys to see this. I mean, that thing is absolutely on the button there on that 618. So another great example here for you guys of the power of that 618, and just something to watch. So guys, multiple zeros, 9 for 𝗵𝗵. Watch that region. If we start losing that, I've got a massive zone here for you guys. And this one could easily come into play now in the next 24 hours if they turn things over again. And you got to get this one on your charts, because it's the next massive zone. And this for me is the 200-day MA, and it's the 786 fib. So look at these two tying in together, and I would expect a very similar reaction to 𝗵𝗵 that you're seeing currently on that 618. If we do get more weakness down, I'd expect a similar reaction there at this multiple zeros 644 level that we're going to be watching. What's Ocean Born saying? Say the old guy to stop trade ING. What's he telling us? Mango says, let's shake out the weak hands. Be you the fool you, says, boys don't cry. What else is going on here, guys? How's 𝗃𝗫𝗍𝒑𝒑? What's he saying here? All the big bids are sitting at 55K. He thinks we're going lower. Definitely possible. And Mark is up at 2 o'clock. And he obviously loves watching trading shows here. And I see Bogdan, our resident DJ in our resident DJ in the Sniper Club, is telling us about EGLD looking quite strong. Another one I wanted to give you guys, or just show you, okay, is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 at that. ETH is on the 200-day MA. A lot of these altcoins that I've just shown you, massive support. Here's 𝗏𝗏 drifting onto massive support again. So this doesn't tell us that this is now the bounce to the end, but it tells us this is a potential reaction zone, just like we've had here previously there, and we had it at this time as well, early May. So maybe some kind of move here out of 𝗏𝗏 before they send us back to hell a little bit lower down. So watching that area closely, it's multiple zeros. 𝗏𝗏 is what you're going to be watching as support on Floki. If they are going to send you lower, okay, this is BTC going to 51k, BTC going to 52k. We're going to be looking at Floki most likely in this region at the 786 fib, and that for me is multiple zeros 9-1. Okay, so make sure you have these levels prepped on your charts, and that is going to be the next area where you could get some release of pain if they start bleeding you out. So watching that region very closely there. What else is going on here? What Michael says, he's changing his undies again. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. And Jadena is looking for some dot action. And James is just sitting here in the chat swearing. Okay, let's carry on. Let's carry on with our business. Here's another one for you, Dogecoin. So I've got a couple of memes. I thought let's just talk about some of these memes at the moment. And Doge has been looking bearish for weeks. Okay, at one point I was short Doge. If you guys were watching the show, I was short Doge somewhere in this region here, and the issue for me was that 200-day MA. We weren't reaching that, and now we have finally drifted lower. So this has taken a hell of a lot of time for us to get into the zone, but now Doge is finally at reaction zone number 1 that we have been waiting for. So this is a big area now of support, 0.105 to 0.106, and you can see we're getting a reaction. 786 fib coming into play, also some horizontals here, so expecting some kind of reaction here on Doge. Depends what they're going to give us. You know, maybe they're going to send us up, more pain for BTC, they're going to send us lower, but right now for me, watch your support, 0.106. okay, so big level here right now for Doge. Upside play if this thing really starts ripping, which I doubt it's going to rip, but 0.125 is your potential big upside zone that you could be watching for Doge. Now, what do you do if Bitcoin starts falling overnight? Once again, you want to start tying in your next potential reaction zone, your next relief zone. Okay, these are the zones where, you know, we hit these areas and you can start thinking rationally and you can just calm down and understand, okay, the thing's been bleeding. Maybe we're going to react in that zone. This level for me, 0.09. Okay, so there's another potential downside move here on Doge of about 17%. Okay, that should tie in with BTC going down to 52k, maybe even a little wick lower, 51, that sort of level. But looking at another 15% downside here on Doge if we do lose this region. So that level, multiples, 0.09 is what you guys are looking for. Ray, what are you long, bro? What are we doing here?
I'm long a little bit of ETH, some Bitcoin, just DCAing and taking it easy. I'm definitely feeling bullish.
RSIs for me, what were you looking at?
Oh, so the 4-day RSI has not been this low on Bitcoin since we had that bottom out when we broke over 25k back to 21k retest, and then we broke out. The 4-day, and we were in a 6-month range, 225 days, a little bit more than 6 months.
Okay, so again, that's the 4-day. So that's the 4-day RSI. Now, you know, it doesn't tell you that the exact bottom is in, but it tells you, you know, these bears are getting tired, even on the 4-day. So we've seen it on the 2-hour, we've seen it on the 4-hour, the 8-hour, the daily was absolutely bottomed out on that RSI. Now, Ray's telling us it's also on the 4-day is at new levels here. And who said everything's discombobulated? I mean, things are wild out there, guys. And you know, just looking at that BTC chart, the way they played us on all these bounce levels, you know, it's evidence again that, you know, the market is tricky, and they keep giving the bulls something to play with, and then they keep coming back and trying to end us. So that is the game we are in at the moment. So we just got to play very carefully here. Any positions that you guys are taking, you really have to exercise some caution here with what you're doing. Really small positions here, wait for those trend breaks, really conservative stuff, and we don't know where they are going to finish us. And Theta, another one, I brought Theta out on the weekly. It was just looking too good. Okay, we have to talk about the current Theta situation. And why is this interesting to me? We are dipping into 1.26. Okay, it's a 786 pool. Now, you've seen amazing reactions of 786s that I've shown you on a lot of these altcoins. And this is tied in with massive weekly levels here. Look at these weeklies. On Theta, I mean, there's too many candles to count here, but we know that this is a huge weekly zone for us. This generally gives us some kind of reaction, some kind of bounce or something in that zone. Again, it doesn't have to be a massive bounce, but it's telling us this is where the breaks could potentially come on here, even if it's for a short-term little move. So watching 1.25 for theta. I've got a limit order set for my spot bags here, looking just for something like that, and just grab a little bit of theta there on any weakness. Now, if this thing dips lower, obviously, which it can, and I wouldn't say it's going to go through without a fight, but if it does go a little bit lower now in the next 24 hours before I see you guys again, we're looking at 0.9, okay, and that would be a massive retracement. That would take us back to January earlier this year, January 24. Okay, so that's actually taking us 6 months back in time, a full reset. And I mean, how much have they rinsed us here already on theta? Let's look at that. Okay, 65% so far. So if we push it down to that entry level, I'm looking at 67% drawdown on theta. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end. If they've dropped a stock or a token 67%, doesn't mean they can't drop you another 67%. And it's just interesting information, and it is dropping down into an interesting level. So 1.25, I like theta. If this thing does eventually start churning up, you can see your clear resistance zones, and look how these guys are tying in so nicely. We don't even need too many horizontals here. Look at this, 50-day MA, 200-day MA, and horizontals. We know that's an iron wall there, 1.9 to break through. So when we do eventually get to that type of region, that is where the bears are going to be shorting this thing heavily, I would expect. So 1.8, 1.9 is what we're going to be watching for theta. There we go. Okay. Where's the other people in the chats? Where's my people? I see there's lots of conversations going on here in the chats, like side chats. While I'm chatting away, there's side action going on here. I mean, Chuck's talking about bots doing all these things. Chris wants to know if WIF has found its base. Okay, well, we can look at WIF. We can look. Fahad says he's fucked. He says we fucked. Sell everything. Okay, I've got a few more interesting ones on levels for you guys. So Render never really plays the game as nicely as some of these other tokens. With regards to fibs and things like that on the bigger time frames, I have noticed lately, but Render is now sitting on a horizontal and timed in with all these other alts sitting on horizontals. Render is now sitting on its current horizontal. So what I'm watching here, Render 6.5. Okay, watch this region, 6.5 for Render. Okay, you can see we've got nice horizontals here. We got a little reaction. If we do get a candle close back in this region, we have reclaimed that trend, okay? Maybe then things can turn a little bit bearish. If we get this candle close on Render under this trend, this is a massive macro trend. So if the candle closes under this trend, we need to watch out. This is going to tell us that we could be in for some more downside. So if we do get this candle push, but they close under there, I would say start looking out for 5.8. Start looking out for 5 on Render. You need to get your levels prepped. You need to be ready. If BTC is going to 51K, make sure you have 5 on your charts. Make sure you have 5.8 on your charts for Render. And, if we do get a flush, these things tend to happen relatively quickly. So watching those areas. And then WLD, this one, now I know fundamentally, apparently this thing's absolute dog shit. And there's all sorts of problems with this thing, but I couldn't ignore this. And I wanted to just show you guys this chart. I mean, if we are measuring sell-offs here and things like that, let's just start with the size of this potential or this existing sell-off. 82%, okay? And again, it doesn't mean it can't go down another 82%, but this is WLD on the 3-day that I'm looking at the moment, and you can see the size of the support in this region. This is a huge zone here for WLD, and that is exactly why it is currently reacting in this region. Now, again, we don't know if we get a reaction here. Fundamentally, this thing might be absolutely shot, but we've got a reaction in the zone. That tells me maybe they could push this thing up a few percent. If we start losing this thing, well, this thing then is going to zero. And right now, I'm playing this WLD, and interesting thing that I found was looking at order blocks here. And one of them was a massive bullish order block here on the 3-day. Okay, now this order block is also available here on the daily as well. And this is just telling us this is a potential reaction reaction zone. You can see this huge order block here on the daily, and the thicker red band tells us that this is a more bullish than bearish order block. But again, we in BTC's hands here. Okay, we're gonna get either handled by BTC or we're gonna get pumped by BTC. But what I can say is WLD is floating around a reaction zone, just like you've seen with all these other tokens that I've just shown you, including ETH, Floki, all these other tokens. It's doing the exact same thing, sitting on support. So we're at that zone now where BTC sneezes again and goes lower. These guys are going to lose their support. They're going to go lower. But if BTC starts pushing up from here or ranging in a bullish type of style, we should see some of these alts start bouncing. And WLD is one of the interesting ones that I'm looking at. So that is another one. And then ICP, again, look, fundamentally, I don't know much about ICP other than what I can give you here on the chart. And another example of ICP on the weekly, another chart on the weekly, sitting on a 786 fib, sitting on major weekly horizontals, just like you see Theta, just like you've seen all these other tokens here. So, you know, if they are going to bounce, these are the zones that you start looking at. And, you know, if you were looking at a bounce earlier today and wondering why you were going to get rinsed out or why you were getting rinsed out, it's exactly that. We were not at our major zone. So if you were trying to trade longs anywhere in that region, you were too early. Okay, we had to wait for much lower there on ICP, and it's going to be the same all around for all these other tokens. So remember the trick: when things are getting super bearish, when the candles are out, you're feeling super bearish, all you need to do is just zoom out. 3-day charts, weekly charts, all those type of levels that you want to watch, and look at your major areas and relocate or just relook at those areas and try and understand, can your positions hold to get down to that zones where you can make some rational decisions. So if there is going to be a bounce in the market, for me, ICP is sitting in a zone of interest here now. And this is not a high leverage ape in type zone. This is just an area of interest. You can see it's a very thick band here that I've got for you guys. There's a big cluster of candles in this region. So for me, ICP, anything from 6.9 down to about 6.3 is a zone of interest here, some kind of reaction zone, provided BTC holds its current levels. If BTC is going to fall over, you know the drill. We are going to the next levels. It's as simple as that. And your next level is going to be round about 5. So 4.7 to 5, I would say the next feasible level for me on ICP, 5.1 down to about 4.7. That's going to be your next interesting zone. So if we do get some kind of short-term bounce and then they decide to come and end us, you could easily see a little rejection of that horizontal, and then they come and send this thing lower. And that would tie in with BTC, for example, pushing up and then rejecting at that level we discussed. Irene wants to know what ADA is doing. Do we care what ADA is doing? I mean, we did look at ADA yesterday, and ADA was one of the better performers, to be fair, and we'll give it back. I don't know, Ray. I don't know if I could do ADA. I've already done Celestia. Yeah, Carlos is talking about PYR. I actually have PYR for you guys. I just wanted to show you my coin catch. Okay, so here's a trade that I'm running on CoinCatch. So here's WLD. Okay, you can see WLD here at the bottom, and watching this one now currently. So I've taken a tiny position for the exact reason that I've shown you. Okay, this is a tiny position, and what you can do then is you can zoom in on the 15 minutes. Okay. So this is a no rec position. Okay, so this is a small position, and you can then play the game. You can wait for these trend breaks. Okay, so what you do is you just bang out a 15-minute trend. Okay, and then if this thing starts getting momentum, okay, if it does start churning higher, when we break that trend, you can start adding to that position and playing that game. And if it starts falling over, well, then what we've done is we've tested a position. Okay, we've tested an area with a small position here, and there's not too much danger. So the aping in can happen when you start breaking trends and things like that, and you start getting momentum. But right now, sniffing around, just inquiring, making a few inquiries. Another interesting one for me is DYDX. Okay, sitting at around about the 1 level. We are back at levels from December 22. We are back at levels from June 2022. So we saw a situation like this with Link probably about a year and a half ago, and we thought this region was impenetrable. We thought Link was not going to go below that level. Okay, so this is DYDX, and what did Link do? Link came and gave us a fake out under there on the weekly, and then sent it higher. So what I want to suggest here for DYDX, there's no interest in this at the moment. GMX as well, these DEXs are flat, and the guys just aren't interested at the moment. I believe there's tons of token unlocks as well, and all these things at the moment. So DEXs definitely aren't the flavor of the month, but look out for DYDX. Look out for a stop hunt under this region. And we had the same thing with Link. I actually need to show you that Link chart as an example, but it moved back into a massive weekly range here, and then they just faked it out below for like probably for a few days, and then they sent it straight back up, and then there was a monster move out of that. So I would say look around DYDX at around about 1, even down to around about 0.85, somewhere in that region. Look out for that little fake out to the downside there. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of action there on that one. And then I've got Rune. I know you guys asking about Rune all the time, and I didn't cover that recently. So Rune actually looks terrible to me. Rune actually looks the saddest of the lot at the moment, and it's not sitting on any major level that I can have any form of conviction with at the moment. So Rune for me, 3.11 is what I'm watching, and I have a limit order at 3.2 for Rune at the moment. So if we do get a little bit lower, I'm hoping to ping this at 3.2, and then maybe we get that kind of bounce on Rune. But I must say, for me, Rune, head and shoulders here. We're not sitting on major areas. We've lost major areas, and not looking great. Okay, not looking my best. So watching 3.1 to 3.2 for me on Rune. And here's PYR. So there was a question from Carlos about PYR, and we might have a similar situation to what I just showed you on DYDX as well, and similar to what we saw at Link. So look out. I mean, we can see very clearly we are moving into this lower range. July 22, December 22, tested again, October 23. Look at the size of that move. So, you know, I would expect some kind of action in this area. I would expect some kind of bounce or rebound for PYR. So I would suggest watching this zone very closely now. 2.8 down to about 2.65. 2.8 down to about 2.65 for PYR. And the type of move I would look for here, you know, I mean, we don't have to go the whole hog here. That's an 80% play in the range. I would say look out for horizontals. Look out for things like the 50-day MA. So your first move would be, say, 24%. Your next move, say, 44%. Then maybe 55%. That sort of thing. So PYR, huge support area incoming. And look out for a fake out below. But we got to have conviction on an area like that. With these type of weekly levels, and then the size of the pullback, just you know, just for interest's sake, again, doesn't mean it can't go lower. But we've had 70% so far, a full retrace here from October 23. Can you believe it? We back to the absolute bear market lows of October 23 on PYR. And Bogdan wants me to be the leader of the Cardano community. I'll do anything, Bogdan. I'll do anything. And we'll have a go. We need that. We need the ADA girls back. And then the Super. I just thought on gaming tokens here, we've looked at PYR. Here's Super. And Super is slowly drifting into my zone of interest. You can see I've got an alarm on here for Super on the daily. So I would say Super needs a little bit more time. Want to just see this little dip into this region. So I'm watching 0.5 for Super. So a little push into that zone. Nice little DCA zone. Nice little buy zone here for spot buys and things like that. You felt so much pain, and there's been so much abuse, and Super is now finally moving into a zone of interest. So 0.5, and the signs were there. You know, we lost this major level here, and we got rejected a couple of times, and now it's slowly drifted down. And today was the day that they have now officially sent us a little bit lower. Okay, so that is that. Let's see what else you guys have got. Let's go. I see questions for WIF. Let's do WIF. Ray, do you want to just give me one or two more tokens there that we can cover?
Yeah, how about Bonk?
Okay, Bonk. Yeah. Bonk. Bonk was on a good area yesterday. Bonk was looking at the 200-day MA. We were looking at some action there. Okay, so WIF, let's just, step back, reassess where we are. Let's see what WIF is bouncing off. This is the daily that I'm watching at the moment, so I'm just looking for some fibs. Okay. So WIF has lost the 618. Okay, that's not a great sign on the daily. Let's just go 8 hour. Okay, hot zones for me on WIF. Okay, we can see the 618. We're trying to reclaim it at the moment. Okay, so if we reclaim nicely here, 1.82, Okay, if we start holding above 1.82, things could start looking a little bit interesting here. So we're looking for something like that. You're just going to ride it up to the trend, 1.82, and then another big zone here. On more weakness, I would say look for the test, 1.67. Look for that test of 1.67. I'd say that is not out of the equation. So a little push down, 1.67 is got to be a zone of interest there for WIF. And then naturally, if we lose that, you're watching those lows, 1.5. So look, WIF, they need action. They need to get their sphere up. They need to get their things going. This thing's just been bleeding out lately. So 1.82 looks interesting, a little bit higher than that. And then 1.67 looks interesting to me. Let's go CAS and Bonk. So now, CAS hasn't, their project fell over, didn't it? And they tried to launch, and they didn't get their results. So, okay, here we are. In fact, I missed this one today. Now, this was an opportunity of note. Okay, so Sniper Club traders, and this has been on my show as well, and I actually missed this one. So, CAS drifted into our area of interest. That is what we were looking for. This was the chart that I dropped in Sniper Club, and that was the area. Look at that. Beautiful. And what did it ping? It pinged the high conviction zone, the 618 fib, the horizontals, and a little bit lower, we had that 50-day MA. So CAS traders 0.16. We finally did hit the area. That is now your support. This is what you want to watch now. Any moves back, lower down, you want to see this region hold. You want to see this trend hold. And then you want to see that one go a little bit higher up. I expect CAS to remain bullish once that mainnet or whatever comes live again and it starts working. And yeah, JD Bruce, he says CAS is looking good. Look, strong bounce. Okay, it's a pity. I actually missed this setup. Otherwise, I would have taken it. 0.16. That's your major support. And just lovely dipping on a 618 again. The science coming into play here. And Philippe, I'm feeling you, bro. We all got slapped around. You are definitely not alone there. And because that dip, the dip, and then it just kept dipping, and then it dipped again. And you saw that BTC chart. We got absolutely abused there. Every time they gave us something, they took it away from us. It was absolute cruelty there. Let's look at Tower as well. Okay, Tower is nearly in our zone. Okay, so here's Tower on the daily, and I've marked this one out here for you guys. We actually spoke about this one yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. And here's Tower on the weekly. So lots of FUD around Tower. There was a hack of sorts and things like that, and that was my plan. So looking for a little bit lower here. Anything down to 190 is an area of interest here on Tower. So watching that zone. Okay, so remember, just mark that on your chart. So even if we do get some kind of short-term bounce, okay, according to this chart, it might want to come lower down. Okay, so even if there's a bounce now off these levels from BTC and those things, we might see Tower a little bit lower. So watching 190 there for me. And let's go. Okay, JD says his AR margin is hurting. Let's see. I actually looked at AR today for Sniper Club. Let's look at that now. I think we were looking at 23 as one of the levels. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so AR on the weekly, you are now in a big support zone. This is a major weekly zone. And the downside of this is if we lose this major area, look at this candle. Okay, they're going to come and take this candle out very quickly here. So my next level, 18. Okay, so if we don't hold this current region, 22 to 23, if we don't hold 22 to 23, we're looking at 18. That is the next realistic zone for me on Arweave. And it could also easily look like this. A little push up, rejection at the 200-day, bang into 18. So that could be the potential bottom for Arweave coming at 18. So guys, lots to think about here, lots to deal with at the moment. If you are a trader and you can't keep, you can't keep your hands still and you want to be in positions, you know what to do now. These are big support areas. You want to nibble very slowly, be very cautious, wait for those trend breaks. Then you can jump onto momentum. Okay, right now it's just bear, pushing down. And there's an opportunity here to get really hurt if you aren't being careful. So really just take it easy, watch your good zones. Remember, in a week or two when things are green again and everybody's smiling, you're going to forget that we were in all this pain and suffering, and things are going to be easier and smoother again. But until then, you have to be patient with your trading. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my shirt. bearish vibes, but you know what? We can still have fun. We can still laugh. We can still have a good time. And Friday tomorrow, US Open. Maybe we get some pumpage. See you later.